Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining me on Midnight Modeling. Today, I am just going to have a bit of reflection, really. I'm kind of at the halfway point of my OcCre Albatros model, and I just kind of want to talk about my likes and dislikes. The model, just highlight some of the mistakes that I've made, and also kind of have a bit of a have a reflective moment, really, of how I'm getting on, and just see if it provides any kind of insight into you guys and the models that you're making or potentially about to buy. So, right, let's get to it. So one of the best things regarding OcCre really is the instructions. Just kind of how detailed and clear they are, and also if you have an opportunity to look at their YouTube channel, and that, or if just uh, there is a very large community who build their models, and for good reason, really, because the kits are very well put together and the directions are absolutely superb, and that so there's a wealth of information on the internet as well for you guys, well, for anyone ready to look at. And on top of that, you can download the PDFs of the instructions of these on the screens as well, even before you buy the boat, and that from their website. So if you wanted to have a look at the ones for the Albatros model, which is the one I'm building at the moment, have a look on the comment section below, and it's linked on there. And that. But the instructions are absolutely superb, and that so again, highly recommend for those that are starting out with modelling, and that if you want a good quality ships to go with, I'd certainly recommend sort of the OcCre series, and that. Another thing that I'm quite fond of, really, sort of like the quality of the materials, and that. So even sort of like for the plank in the deck, it's not cheap stuff. It's quite thick. You can manipulate it, mold it, shave it, do what you please with it. Sort of, it is quite forgiving to an extent in that if you do make mistakes, so with wood there is a degree of malleability, I guess, to it. You can bend, cut it down, and whatnot. So the materials are sort of absolutely super. Third thing that I quite like about them, again, which I sort of touched on my first one, is the online community. If you go on Reddit, YouTube, Instagram, there's always people making OcCre models, and that, and you can kind of see their build logs and what they're and how they're getting on about it. There is an absolute wealth of information, and the community is absolutely spot on with positive feedback and thoughts and suggestions and tips, and things like that. And you certainly do need them, and that. So just when you do follow the directions, obviously there's certain ways that people have adapted them and things like that. Just where they've worked out to make their life easier, and that. And these are the things that you can pick up from sort of from the online community, and that. So please sort of reach out and join like the Facebook groups or the Reddit groups, and that, or follow myself on Midnight Modeling for a bit of plugging there as well. Another bit that I like as well is the one-to-one scales, and that they are absolutely amazing, sort of for lining things up and getting sort of your measurements. Um, get to the front page, again, the measurements, absolutely spot on, to be honest, and sort of helps out on sort of like the rigging elements and that as well, which I'll be doing a bit later on. I'm not quite there yet. I've sort of hopped on the my planking and that's, but look, we can sort of measure it up the size. Look, turn it upside down so you can sort of see it, but it's spot on, I'd say, wouldn't you? Um, let's just go on to the final page of this, and then we shall move on. These are the sales I've not got to hand at the moment, and here this is not quite one to one sort of scale. 2 to 1. Right then, a couple of things that I'm not a big fan of. Um, turn this over so I've got a bit of white that you can see. The metal, the metal work in that. So let's grab it. and that. So on, right. So as you can see, we've got the boat here, and it's stage 59, 60, and 61. But also here on step 58, we have got the door and that. Um, I feel like I've got to be careful with my words because the model kit is absolutely fantastic, and that, but you kind of have put a lot of work in with your woods, getting it into shape, styling it, and things like that. So it, especially with the door, I just don't think it kind of fits. I guess I'm going to have a look. Someone else has used some of their planks, to kind of make their own door, sort of like with the spare materials, and that you get. Think I'm going to have a look at that and go about doing it myself, and that just because I don't know, it just doesn't seem to go with the model. Is kind of my opinion. It's kind of like the same with the ladders as well. It's just sort of been painted like a dark black or dark brown, and that, and then for it to go, it, it will come at a slant, but and that it's again, I just it'd have been nice sort of have to get like a mini stairwell, I guess banisters or whatever, and that, but yeah, yeah, I'm not a fan, I guess. And then particularly with the boat, so it was flip me instructions over, and that again, as well. I would rather make a small one out of wood, yeah, albeit it might be a bit fiddly, but I think my preference would have been having more of a wood model than just sort of painting something metal wood. Now, it could have been plastic. They've not stinged on the resources. It is a um, metal thing. So they've not just shoved cheap plastic in there and expecting us to paint it, kind of thing. But I think I'd have much rather have had some wood that had sort of been able to shape down. I think that sort of fit with sort of the aesthetics of the boat, and that I do feel like I'm nitpicking, but because again, I just want to stress that this the kit is absolutely fantastic. And that, but yeah, these few things with the metal, it's yeah, I'm not. I'll try and use them. I think, but at least with the door, I'm going to try and go a different way. I think. Also, I think a suggestion of tools. And that I've not. This is where I've probably not read the instructions very well. And that, but for example, tweezers, saw, screwdrivers, pliers, files, sandpaper, things like that. It would have been nice for me starting off just having that list of tools handy, and that it is a hobby where you kind of got to sort of invest in some resources and things like that. But quite a lot of the videos that I saw on YouTube, people have got a very well kitted out station office, with really a lot of tools, and that. So if there's kind of a list of sort of the basic tools that you need to get by, I think that would have been quite handy. Cost of living, times are hard and all that jazz, and it's just not comparing yourself to some of these workstations. I find initially quite daunting. So, but I guess each to their own, and that. But yeah, it'd been nice sort of like add a list of sort of recommended tools that you can sort of get by at a bare minimum, I guess, with your model, and that. Um, right, moving on. So, I'm not the perfect modeler, and there's a lot of people out there that are a lot better than what I am. So, I made a video sort of about one of the mistakes that I made. So if you have a look on the deck, here, sort of all around the edge, really, I cut into the deck. I didn't think. So when I was on an earlier step, round about here. It's I just put into it. I didn't think, didn't. It's clearly not on here, and that. But when the deck was sitting on sort of my hull frame, and that, um, yeah, cut into it, and I've just tried to tidy it up. I'm hoping that when I start putting the cannons on and things around the deck, it's just going to be a bit more hidden, and that. But we'll see. And that another thing as well, area as well. It's again, I'm gonna have to do a bit of hiding, and that you might be able to just see here. I didn't file down well enough, and that, and then I tried to sort of shoehorn bits into place and it's not quite worked out. So if we go back to um 10, 11, 12, 13, it's telling you to sort of sand it down, but it isn't really until you get to steps 20 all the way up to when you're doing your planking really that you don't kind of that's sort of when you know that you've done your sanding well enough, and that, and I wasn't I should have gone back, and that. So I've been like a few millimeters off down here on the sand in this side. I've done it enough down here, but it's just not worked out down here. I'm hoping that I can get a bit of like the one of like the finishing planks down here and just sort of stick it in down the side. And then the same's happened again at the back of the ship. I've not sanded down enough, and it's not quite worked out for me. So this plank's gone on all right, and I've sort of sanded it down. I'm not overly concerned about the gaps here, because when these planks go on, can't really see it. Obviously the bow and stern of the ship I still just need to tidy up, and that. I flitted between the glue as well. So on previous boats that I've made, I've used kind of like PVA or wood glue to stick these on, and that I wanted to see sort of how using super glue would work putting these on. I kind of regret it. I think I'm still left with some kind of like stains and marks, and that I do tend to paint it. So I'm hoping that it'll all be hid, and the paint will stick to it, and that. But I'll have a go at sanding it down a little bit more. Obviously, these planks are a lot thinner, so it's kind of a bit more. You don't have that wiggle room, I guess. But again, at least you can sand it down. So slight little gap there where I can just sort of put a bit more wood in there, and that as well. And that. But other than that, it's um gone all right. I think no massive dramas. It's slightly wonky at the front as well, and that sort of bit, and that. So that's a learning curve, isn't it? And that. So I think I'm being a bit panicky. I don't know what you think, if you can sort of tell, and that. But I'm hoping there's on a bit later the one there here, step 44. Don't know what they're called, but things that'll go on the top there. But I'm hoping if I line them up all right, it might hide the fact that it's a little bit wonky. So on one of the earlier videos as well, I mentioned sort of I cut this out of in the deck, which obviously isn't on the instructions. Go back to the deck, you can't really see it there, but you can kind of see there. It sort of lets light inside of the ship when the people back in the day were kind of working on there, getting a bit of fresh air and sunlight and all that jazz. But I wanted to kind of make a bit of room about it, and then put maybe a crate or something in there just to make it inside the ship a bit more exciting, and that. I was careful. Obviously, there's other things on the deck, sort of like the hatches and whatnot. So I was kind of limited into where I put the hole, but kind of unfortunate. Put this bit here. I'm hoping that it kind of paint it dark color. When everything goes on it, it'll kind of be a bit hidden. And that as well. Yeah, I missed a bit when I was sort of mentioning about I've got a list on my laptop basically of what I've gone down, and I kind of missed a bit. I've recently bought a bit of beeswax, so when sort of on about the resources that you might want to buy, and that sort of to help you out. So again, I watched quite a lot of videos about how people go about making boats, and that's kind of how I get my knowledge, and that. Um, when helping with the rigging at a bit later stage, having a bit of beeswaxing helps out. On the previous model, I put a bit of watered down PVA glue on there, and that, but I'd have done all of the tying and that with my tweezers and that beforehand. I think having a bit of beeswax, it feels a bit better, it feels a bit thicker, and that. So I bought this for about £4 off Amazon. Just put a bit of beeswax on it, and then it feels better to tie with rather than having it with any strings, like little fray bits that kind of come off it, whereas the beeswax kind of cuts that down. Um, so yeah, so a recommended buy, I guess, is beeswax. Right, so I think I've worked down my list now. I don't really have too much more to say. I'm going to continue sort of with the model over the next few weeks, really, and that. Um, yeah, we'll see how we go with the painting. I've recently bought myself an airbrush, so I think I'm going to have a go at using that, I think, to paint the hull of the boat, really, and have a bit of fun with that. I need to get some tape and sort of so I don't start staining this bit. And cool. So one of the reasons why I've been doing this kind of reflective piece is that my video editing skills aren't the best. I I struggle with it, to be honest. I use Clipchamp on my laptop, and yeah, it's a palaver. But anyway, um I just didn't think it'd make good viewing of me putting all of these planks on because it takes a long time, and that really. But because it takes a long time, and I didn't want to show you it that me doing every single plank, I yeah, just had this reflective thing. Just say then, I promise that I'd get a video out every Saturday. And that. So yeah, bear with me as I kind of finish this and then edit the video and add a bit of voice to it and send it out. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I will part ways with you. Um, if you're watching this video and you got this far, massive, massive, massive thank you. Please like and subscribe. I cannot tell you how grateful I am for anyone who sort of chips in the comments, likes the video, subscribes. It makes a massive say it makes a massive difference in my life. I don't make any money off this, and that, but it shares the love, shows the appreciation, really, and that sort of I'm not just doing it and not just talking to myself out there. Any suggestions, tip, please put them in. I love the positivity, but I also appreciate if you have any suggestions and recommendations for myself as well. Um, one of the nice things with this hobby is that you're always learning. There's always different techniques or difference of opinions, which is cool. And that. But please like, subscribe, and until next time on Midnight Modeling, I'll see you then. Thank you very much. Bye now.